So let's talk about these 7 areas that we need to master. Number one that you hear about all the time, but you don't necessarily do too much about, and that is systems. Systems. Systems are everything, guys. Systems aren't just your infrastructure. Systems aren't just your drip campaign follow-up. Systems aren't just your TC. Systems are also, I mentioned earlier, when I was talking about things like pay per click and these things, what is your cost per click? What is your cost per lead? These are all part of the systems of your business. But what I really want you to understand as a result of me being in front of you is that diet is to fitness what systems are to growth and scalability. Diet is to fitness what systems are to growth and scalability. You cannot outwork a bad diet. Is that making sense? And you can't outgrow, you can't outscale a model that has no system. If you eat brownies all day and go for a run, it's not going to matter. If you want to scale like crazy, but there's no systems in that, it's never going to happen. The second one we want you to master. Social. God, so many of you just want it to go away. I said yesterday, database CRM. Why are they important? They allow you to be direct to consumer. What does social allow you to be? What is so much of the stuff we've done with you guys over the last couple of days here? Where are we pushing you? Why? Direct access to consumer. You look at things like, how many times have I said to you guys in the course of the last 2 days, don't just listen to what I'm saying, do what I do. How many times do you guys hear me say on a Jared James show or on a podcast, go to connectwithjared.com? All the time. And why? We make it easy. Digital business card. Go to any platform you're on, there it is. Here's the podcast, there it is. We make it simple for people. If you're in this room and you have not made it easy for people to connect with you on social, you need to get a digital business card set up. We do them. You can create them yourself. They're not expensive, but you need to set up some kind of a connect with Terry, connect with whatever, and make that a part of your signature every time you have an email that goes out, anytime you talk about something, anytime, because you know what the consumers don't want? Hey, if you're on Facebook, go to facebook.com /. If you're on Instagram, go to instagram.com On my fan page on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com And if you're on LinkedIn, go to this. And if you're on Snapchat, go to this. And if you're on Instagram, and if you're on YouTube, go to this. And by the way, there's a podcast over here. You can go to what? Digital business card. Make it easy for people to connect with you. And then start documenting your life. I don't get social. Well, you're never going to get it by sitting back and telling everybody how much you don't get it. You've got to get involved. Go out and screw up. I'm sure if I looked at my post from 8 years ago, I'd be like, what were you thinking? That is so stupid. Like, what were you doing? But that's fine. Nobody starts as an expert. But we also can't ignore what's right in front of us. It's huge. Billions of people on all of these platforms. And I know we're tired of them changing. Now TikTok is becoming You're like, what? TikTok? Remember Musical.ly? Like your little kids were on it? Now there's TikTok for another advance. But at minimum, guys, your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, you know what I now say you need to be on? LinkedIn. Talk to me last year, I'd have been like, nope. Talk to me, watch what we're doing, not just what I'm saying. Where are we posting on a regular basis? That's not because we're just kind of like, well, whatever floats in the wind, let's see what happens. Like, we're looking at the data. People are active there again, okay? So social, digital business card. If you don't have a digital business card, you don't know how to set one up, reach out to the folks at Georgia and say, how do I get the digital business card? Or just go on the website, go to where it says digital business card, and get that taken care of. Make it easy for people to connect with you. Do what I'm doing, not just what I'm saying. Next up, marketing. I talked about this yesterday. Is marketing just direct call to action? What else? What else? Branding. You guys are paying attention right over in that area. Branding. You remember Ernie and I talking about the importance of long-term, thinking long-term? Right? Did you guys get that? You understood what we were talking about? Okay. So what is your actual marketing plan? Oh, but marketing costs money. Did I not give you a strategy earlier to have people pay for your marketing? It is going to be a shame if there's people in this room that leave here and don't start selling ads on their website. Okay? Marketing. You think marketing's expensive? Try being invisible. But marketing has to happen sometimes? All the time. Okay, next one. This is the one where you're going to lose connection with me. Now, this isn't for tonight. I just want to be very clear. Health. Richest man in a graveyard. Richest woman in a graveyard. What's the point? Your health is not something that you get around to. Your health is not something that I'm going to do someday. Your health is not. And health, by the way, I want to be just so clear about this in this room because I know that there are people when I talk about this that get uncomfortable. Your health has nothing to do with what size you are and what. There are overweight people that are in better health than thin people, and vice versa. True? Okay? Your health, when I talk about your health, it has so many different, I have so many different reasons why. I talk about it from the perspective of usually by the time it's not good and you could have avoided it, it's too late. Right? And I talk about it because you are literally not as effective in your career when you're not healthy. How many of you follow the things I do, the hashtag Did You Sweat Today? How many of you follow those right now? I don't even post them every day. I do them every day, but I don't post them every day. I did a great interview with you earlier where you talked about, because you send me pictures all the time, and you're just like, did you sweat today? Did you sweat today? You send them all the time, right? And she said, can we just do a really quick video, a really quick thing, and just kind of because I have people that follow this, and they don't even know what that is. Can we just talk about why you started that? Why did you start that? And let me tell you why I started that. I started that because, number one, I have felt for years that coaching somebody and setting an example in somebody's business and their business alone was a waste of time. I can train you how to make a lot of money, but if you die at 43 because you didn't take care of yourself, what good was it? Right? So to me, real coaching, real training, when you really look at it, I gotta talk to the whole person. Otherwise, you'll be really strong in this area, and you'll be really weak in this area. And that doesn't work. How many examples do we have to see before we understand that doesn't work? Right? Health matters. And by the time you figure it out, usually, it's too late. You know the other reason I did the hashtag Did You Sweat Today? It drives me nuts in my society, in our society, that we are training our children. Hey, be good. You did something real good, so let me reward you by giving you sugar. Let me take years off your life. Let me show you how to have struggles that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life because you're going to be addicted to this sugar because you did something good. That's a problem. Do you know that if we had literally, from a young age, trained children that you did something good, so here's a piece of fruit, that they would actually value fruit on a different level? And so the very thing we're trying to do, which is make them feel good and trying to, have that effect on them, We're losing the effect because although our intentions are okay, the result of what we're doing is we're killing them. And implanting, nobody in this room wants to give bad habits to a child, right? But we learn that. And so you know the other reason I do the hashtag Did You Sweat today? You guys have heard over the years, like the vain reason, right? The vain reason was, I have 2 boys, and I want to dominate them when they're in high school. That's the vain, and it's still true. Yesterday, my son comes up to me, bumps up to me like right here, and he goes, "Size up, kid." I said, "I think I'd have to size down, don't you?" And they're getting bigger and faster. But I still got it. And I still will when they're in high school. Now, the other reason we do it, though, aside from vanity and all that other stuff, is just, can we all agree that we want better things for the next generation than we have for ourselves? Can we all just can we just say one thing that I know it's not a controversial statement at all. We all want better for the next generation than we had for ourselves. Can we agree with that statement? Okay. The other reason I do it, aside from the fact that I know that so many of you watch and that I need to make sure that we're setting the right example and that I'm staying consistent, whatever, is because I want my children to see just how much of a sacrifice and how difficult it is to stay healthy. I want them to see that it's not just the people that are born with a super quick metabolism I want them to see that it is work. I want them to see that when I've been on the road for days and I've got 2 days home and all I want to do is hang out with them, I'm still going to go take an hour and run. Even though it's the last thing in the world that I want to do at that moment. Why? Because I need them to see that. I need them to see the sacrifice. I need them to see that it's difficult, but I need them to see that it's necessary. So all of those other patterns that we build in them that are not very good, that later on in life, when everything starts to come to whatever, they're going to start to go, "Oh no, that's what you do." It's not easy, but that's what you do. It's not something you do when you have time. It's not something you do at the first of the year. It's not something to do when you're ready to get beach bod ready. Oh, you didn't like that one. I can feel it, guys. I can feel it. You're like, "I was with you till then, but there's nothing wrong with that." It's something you do all the time, when you feel like it, when you don't, and that is one of the greatest things that you can not only do for yourself, but that you can pass on to the people who follow you and the people who look up to you and the people. That's one of the greatest things that you can do for them. Not to mention the effects. Do you know how much disease we get that was completely avoidable if we had just taken care of ourselves? Like, go read the studies. More so, do you know how much of that is eliminated when you start taking care of yourself? Now, guys, I'm not saying that you start, eating nothing but from the earth and 12 miles a day and, whatever. I eat good 5-6 days a week. Where's Nicole in my office was shocked today because they brought me some chicken thing back there and I was actually eating it, and she's like, "I don't even know what to do with this right now." And that's because during the week, I get very I'm not going to not going to do that. Not going to. But on the weekends, that allows me to actually have a life too. It's not about going to one extreme or the other. Because when you live in extremes, does that ever last? Guys, when I see someone lose 30 pounds in 30 days, if there were a way to bet money how fast that weight's coming back, I would put everything I had. Because it's not about the extremes, guys. It's about lifestyle. That's why I always get thrown off with, well, this diet and that diet. Here's the latest diet. Here's the latest. How about the lifestyle? That's the greatest diet man has ever known. You want me to move on? Guys, I'm not here to feed you sugar. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. That's not my That's not my purpose on this earth. I'm here to kind of like push you a little bit, okay? I want to help you. When I hear stories like you and you say, I lost 50 pounds because of that message, that's why I stay on that message, okay? And the thing is, that could be anyone in this room. Some of you don't need to lose 50 pounds. Some of you just need to start sweating a little bit more and having that stress relief and having that time to be able to go and think and be able to like process what's going on in your world and be able to. I come home sometimes because when I go and I go exercise or I go run or I do something like that, aside from everything, it's when I think. I need to think. Sometimes I come home and I got a lot going on and my wife goes, you probably need to go for a run. She could see me just processing. Go for a run. Go figure that out. Go figure that out so you can come back to us and you can actually be here. Okay? When you don't have that release to be able to do that, where is it going? Just builds up. Okay? And now you're welcome. I'm going to move on. Next one. Infrastructure. Have we pushed this enough the last 2 days? How many of you would agree with the statement that where you need to go in the future, the infrastructure you have right now will not get you there? Show of hands. I love it, guys. Be willing to say it. And it doesn't mean it happens overnight, but we at least first need to recognize that that is the case. Infrastructure. We talked about the 7 stages of team development. And I told Rick when he was going to go over this, I'm like, don't spend a lot of time on 5, 6, and 7. Because most of you will never have an opportunity to hit 5. Most of you don't even want to go to 5, 6, or 7. But knowing where you want to go is not an option. What did I say? Day 1, day 20,001. What's everybody in here need? Transaction coordinator. Can I let you in on another? Remember yesterday when I said to you guys, let me let you in on a little one of my beliefs? And I said to you, here's my little lesson on balance. It doesn't exist. Can I give you another one of my little beliefs that I live by? You know that old adage when people talk about time management and these things and they go, well, every single person got 24 hours in a day. It's just a matter what they do with those hours. You ever heard that line? Every person got 24 hours in a day. Lie. Guys, I got 40-something people on my payroll. I have over 1,000 hours every day to your 24. You think I'm not going to win? I don't have 24 hours. I have 1,000 plus. You making that shift right now? When you have 3 people, you don't have 24 hours. You have 72 hours. When you have 8 people, you don't have 24 hours. You have 192 hours. This clicking? This stuff, 24. We all have 24. We all have 24. No, we don't. You have 24. You have 24. I have 1,100. So let's see who wins this race right now. Some of you, that needs to click right now. That needs to be a fundamental shift in the way that you think. We are buying into things that have been told to us for years and years and years without even thinking about them. And you are never going to compete in the zone that I live in if you think like many of you think right now. I promise you I think differently than you do. What did I say yesterday? I said, you're not normal. And that's okay. I said, the world's not built for you. It's and that's okay. But if you're going to admit that, then you can't walk into that world with the mindset that was fed to you by that world and then try to operate in a body that doesn't add up. You got to rethink some stuff. I don't have 24 hours. By the way, by next year, I'll have 2,500 hours. And then by the year after that, I'll have 10,000 hours. And so good luck keeping up with your 24. So you got to start looking at your structure of your business and starting to go, is what I'm after, if what I'm on this planet and I'm called to do, can I get it done with 96 hours? If not, you got to look at your infrastructure. And when I say look at your infrastructure and know what it is that you want, I'm not sitting here saying like, every one of you should get to stage 7 of the team development. No, you shouldn't. You got to know what you want and what stage you're in. You're a single mother raising multiple kids. What you want for your business right now is going to be different than what you're going to want for your business when your kids are in high school. And that is okay. But if you compare yourself against little miss, never talked to anybody, worked 24 hours a day, kids don't even know her, whatever, and go, why is she producing more? Let it happen. Because you got to know what stage you're in. And say, this for right now is good enough for where I am. This is enough. And I'm not going to beat myself up because that person over there is doing this or that person over there is doing this, because as soon as you get into the comparison game, there is always someone bigger and better. If not in your office, then in your marketplace, then in your state, then in the country, then in the world, because the way your mind works, you will look for them. True? You'll say, why am I not doing what they're doing? I come so far. There are a lot of other factors at work there, guys. That's why I said to you when I'm bringing people up on the stage over the course of the 2 days, don't worry about what levels they're at. Listen to the messages that they're trying to teach you. That is what ultimately matters. Number 6. Oh, here's a biggie. Here's a biggie. Financial. I'm not going to spend time on this point. I made the point many times last advance. Financial issues do not come from what you make. They come from how you spend your money. The same people at $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 are broke. I have millionaire friends that are broke. So you want to start looking at your business. You want to say, what do I do with money? Do I invest it or do I let it sit? Money can be spent or it can be invested, but I am telling you right now that for money to work, it has to be invested. Money, you ready for this, is an illusion. Okay. Do you see this? Do you see this money? Okay. It's paper with dead people on it. Its value is only determined by the trust or the overall agreed upon value that all of us say that it is worth. It's really just paper with dead people on it. Money never stays. Money literally passes from me to you, to you, to you, to you, to... It's an illusion. When you give me money for coaching or marketing or CRM or whatever, we take it and we go pay employees. The employees go and they pay their mortgage. The mortgage goes, it's just shifting around. It's an illusion. It's literally like in your mind. It's paper with dead people. And yet we sit around and we try to hoard it or overthink it. If you took $10 million out of your marketplace tomorrow, would anybody know the difference? The objective, guys, is not to make $1 million. The objective is to keep $1 million. That does not happen with money sitting. It happens with money working. You can make $1 million working at Best Buy if you stick around there long enough. But if you really want to make any kind of financial gains in this world, you have to let what? Money sit, or you have to let it what? Invest. You've got to invest in. Why do you think we did a breakout on how to start getting involved in investing? Investing in properties, investing in companies, investing. You know what the number one investment is? Yourself. The number one investment every single one of you should be making in here right now is yourself. Sitting money doesn't make money. Money has to be put to work. Money sitting in your account is literally wasteful. Do you know what happens? Here's what happens. When you have too much money sitting in an account, it becomes like a thing of toothpaste. You ever notice with toothpaste, when you first use it, you just fell on the ground, whatever. You just, as much toothpaste as you could possibly get, and you're just spitting it out. You don't even care. And what happens when you get to the bottom of the toothpaste? You are kneeling on the thing. If you can just get a little taste, works good. Because when there's too much of it, you don't respect it. You're like, there's plenty to go around. What happens with money? When you have money sitting in an account, just literally gaining interest, you're not taking it serious. You don't use it to invest. You don't use it to grow. You don't grow in today's economy by sitting on nothing but savings. You don't grow by building a bank account that has 2% interest while the inflation rate is 1.8 to 1.9%. It's just math, guys. I hate that I even have to say that. Like, that is your parents' economy. Let it sit in the bank. 2% interest. Just about a 2% inflation rate. Well, all right. So what did we gain? You don't grow by doing that. You grow by investing. It's about assets, not liquid. Get over this. The point I made earlier when I said the toothpaste example. When you have too much liquid, when you're just sitting on cash and not doing anything investing with it, it doesn't grow. Just sits there. Think about this for a second, guys. How much have I invested here? You have any idea? Thank you. Payroll. Doing this. You think this is cheap? Office. Softwares. Guys, millions of dollars. Literally millions of dollars. But you know why I do that? Because I'm setting myself up to deserve what's coming. Catch that point, guys. Do you deserve what you want? Think about it, guys. Have you invested on the level of the return you are expecting? Some tough questions. I've invested millions. I deserve what's coming to me in the coming years. Have you invested on the level of the return that you're expecting? Do you deserve what it is that you think that you want? But the number one investment you make is in who? Yourself. It does take money to grow, guys. It absolutely does. It takes capital to grow. It takes a lot of these things. Some of you in here, from a business perspective, need to start getting educated on things like working lines of credit to get your business going. We've never thought like that in this industry because we just kind of like, well, I'll just go get referrals. We'll see if I make it. That's why there's an 87% failure rate. Because we're just, we'll see what happens. When you master finances, what did I say the other day? You don't have everything running through one account. What do? You got several. You got a ton of things set up. When you understand finances, you don't just grow your account for you. Do you know how I can tell the difference between two different people? When you find a $10 bill on the ground. Oh, look, God blessed me. I'm going to go buy some food. Or do you look at it and say, oh, look at that, I'm going to be able to go bless someone else? What is your reaction to that $10 bill? Think about it. Like, the point of you doing financially well is not just for you. I think I shared with you guys yesterday, and I said, look, I get it. Like, I heard all when I was a kid about how money is bad, the root of all evil, which is really the love of money. Come on. We love to believe that stuff so we can feel not so bad about where we are financially. But the truth is, you know what's better than just praying for someone when they need something? Go provide it. And you can't do that when you think so small that you're just trying to hoard money and never investing in anything. And let's just kind of see what happens. And let's just... Guys, this is next level stuff right now. This is where like a lot of us need to go. Can I promise you something right now? Because I can feel the audience right now. Well, when I have it, I'm going to do it. No, you won't. If you are not a giver before you have money, you will not be a giver when you have money. Now, you may give it a different level when you start having some money. But if you're not willing to give something when you don't have anything, I promise you, when you grow, you are not going to give on any level. Because you will have a hoarding mentality. Me, take care of me. It's all about me. Take care of... That doesn't work. Number 7. Mental. What I say yesterday, guys, when you live up here, you create problems that don't even exist. Now, when I'm sitting up here talking about finances, I'm going to tell you right now that you cannot determine what is acceptable for you to make moving forward by what you grew up in, what you grew up around, because it won't make sense. Where I grew up, it was okay to get by. Where I grew up, it was... You see how that works? This thing right here matters. And the problem is with most of us is that we are, within our mentalities, operating in our minds for the future with a now mindset. Making decisions now, or making decisions for the future with where we are right now. Remember I talked about that a little bit yesterday? You're trying to solve the problems of now. And if you were to actually set your goals to a completely different level, then you'd have to push yourself and have a completely different set of problems that many of us don't want to deal with. Right? When you start looking at the issues that are out there in the future of, what do we say, payroll, and that's stuff that you should want to have to deal with. Like that is, but when you only deal with now and you just focus on now and all you're thinking about is your now problems and now you're thinking about what? What happens? You guys ever heard that example? It's kind of a corny little example, but it's just true. A snake only grows to the size of its environment. You guys never heard of that? I just made that up. It was right now. I was just like... Do you know that if you put a snake in a small cage, the snake only grows so big? When you put a snake out in the jungle, it grows humongous. You guys know that? Okay, that's how it works. Because it grows to the size of what? It grows to the size of it. So what are you surrounded by? What is your environment? What kind of people are you hanging around on a regular basis? What kind of mentalities are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of things are you saying are acceptable to you within your life? Do you know that when I started growing, I had to get rid of a whole core of friends? I'll be friendly. I didn't say I'm not friendly. I said I had to get rid of a core of friends. Because we didn't belong to be connected. It wasn't going to work. We think different. You think too small for me. Like I can't connect myself to you. That's going to have an advertent effect on me. And those are difficult decisions to make, guys, especially when you grow up with people, especially how you look at things matter. They did a study once where they found that outside of this coffee shop, they basically had this little like page-long thing where they wrote this little story, little summary. And they took 100 people who walked out of this coffee shop over the course of a week. And every time these people walked out with a coffee, sometimes a hot coffee, sometimes a cold coffee, and they said, so what do you think about that story we just told you? Tell us about the main character. Do you know that over 80% of the time, the people that walked out with a hot coffee with the exact same story told a positive story about the main character? Do you know the people with an iced coffee walked out with the exact same story, and over 80% of the time gave a depiction of the main character that was a negative depiction? Exact same story. So we got to watch this stuff. I like to say that you can tell how unsuccessful someone is by how much they criticize other people. You can tell how unsuccessful or unhappy someone is by how much they criticize other people. Because really, they're unhappy with who? We talk all the time about state of mind, and, number one reason for the top 100 salespeople in the world, state of mind. Keep your mind right. You got to have morning routines. You got to think about what you're grateful for, right? What are you grateful for? And I ask people, I'm like, all right, so what are you grateful for? You know what everybody says every time? I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my... That's me gagging. Gagging. I'm throwing up in my mouth when you say that. We're all grateful for our family. The true power of gratitude only manifests itself when you are grateful for things that don't make sense to other people. You set goals this year? Anybody set goals? Any of you not hit your goals? Okay, you ready? The true power of gratitude doesn't come from whether you hit your goals or not. It comes when you realize just how freaking lucky you are to live in a world and set your goals to begin with. I had a transaction fall apart. The sky is falling. Oh, I'm sorry, you work in an industry where you can do something that creates a transaction worth thousands of dollars, and it fell apart, and you could do it all over again? When some kid is unlucky enough to be born in some country and make $1.50 an hour to have no hope for the rest of their life? I feel really bad for you. That's terrible. The true power of gratitude only manifests itself when you start to understand that it doesn't come from whether you hit your goals or not. It comes when you fully understand that how lucky you are to even set your goals to begin with. You guys get that? You start to understand that, and you'll start to look at things differently. You'll start to view your problems differently. You'll start to view other people differently. You'll start to view all of these heartaches and these this and these, your struggles. When I say things to you guys like I do yesterday, I'm like, struggle is part of it, and I'm doing it. And I tell you, I live it every single day. This is how I think. This is what goes through my head. You start thinking like that, you think you might start viewing things a little bit differently? Guys, you are at the mercy of the mentality that was ingrained in you up until now, but you have a responsibility for the mentality that you impart to other people. Is this too much right now? You good? I'll end with a joke or something, guys. Don't you worry. We're going to have fun tonight, but I'm trying to help you right now. If you don't get this thing right, if you don't get your finances right, if you don't get your systems in place, if you don't get your infrastructure in place, guys, why do you think it is that over 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and yet over 75% of franchises succeed? Got a prototype. These things matter. You're at the mercy of the mentality that was ingrained in you up until now, but you have a responsibility for the mentality that you are going to impart to other people moving forward. You're going to impart to your friends. You're going to impart to your circle. You're going to impart to your children. You're going to impart to your own inner mind on a regular basis. And that means, I said this yesterday, that means that everyone in this room, you determine what the standard is for your life. What is the standard? And then you build patterns around that standard. And what did I say yesterday? some people decide that standard for them is to just get by. And they live a world where that's exactly what happens. And some people decide, I don't care where I've come from. I don't care what I was supposed to be in this world. I don't care what... I'm going to build one of the largest coaching and training companies in North America. And then just when everything's good, I'm going to go start a marketing company. And I'm going to invest millions of dollars. And I'm going to have a ton of sleepless nights. And I'm going to do everything I can to try to impart to these people like different standards. You decide for you what it's going to be for you. But I will tell you that a poor state of mind, a mentality that just doesn't add up to the success that many of you are looking for on a regular basis, comes from a focus on yourself opposed to others. Even when you're worried about the people around you, usually it's still a focus on you because you're worried you're not doing enough for them. Life is not about you. And if you make your life about you, how do you think that life's going to go? What did I say to you guys yesterday when I said how much I appreciate you all and how much I appreciate how much you listen to the things that I have to say and how much I appreciate you guys watching the videos and how much I appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, how much I appreciate all of the attention and all of those things? I said, look, guys, there's two ways to look at that, right? One way is I can go, all right, let's keep this focus right here. The other way is to go, okay, now we have a little bit of a voice. Why don't we use that to empower other people? Because ultimately what I'm trying to tell you guys is exactly what I just said right now. Life is not about you. Life is not about your financial well-being. It's about you getting in a place where you can affect other people who you can now help the same way somebody helped you at some point in their life. But you can't change the output of a broken model. If I get into a drag race with a Ford Taurus and I'm going up against some kind of a car or something like that, it's not going to work. I got to change the car ultimately. And that starts with us. Why do you guys think when you look at the hashtag Did You Sweat Todays and you look at all the other things that I'm doing on a regular basis, why do you think I try to do so much work right here? Why do you think I'm working on myself all the time? Trying to get better, trying to get... A giver can only give at the level that the giver has. Now that applies to you as well. You got any people in your life that pull on you? You have any people in your life that need you, that rely on you? Do you ever feel empty? You ever feel like you're just playing the game, you're just acting? Anyone? Three of you? Because the only way that gets solved is you got to start with you. You got to start with your mentality. You got to start with, like, the giver can only give at the level that the giver has. So we've got to be conscious about those things. Stop giving to people. Stop letting people pull on you when ultimately you're already drawn from zero right now. Okay? If you have a heart to help people, if you have a heart to whatever, then you got to be smart enough and have the heart to also take care of yourself first. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody. Comes to our mentality. I said this a little bit yesterday in our Q&A, but I want to make sure all of you hear this. Many of you in this room, you need to start being very careful with all of the voices you are listening to. We live in a world right now where there was more content created in the last 12 months than there was in the whole history of the rest of the world. And there are some really cool things about that. There are some things that are just, you got everything to hear every day, you got new content every day, you got all of these kind of things going on, but some of you need to start being careful about the number of voices you are allowing into your head because they're confusing you. You listen to Grant Cardone and he'll say, debt is awesome. Debt is a good thing. And then you went to what, Daniel Ramsey's thing today? Or not Daniel Ramsey, that was who was here yesterday. Dave Ramsey. He has a completely different idea about it. He says, no, debt is terrible. All debt is bad. Who's right? They're both right. But they both come from a different place, and they're both in different stages in their lives. They're both in different seasons of their lives. We have got to start paying more attention to the people that we're listening to and understand the stage they are in their life and the season that we are in our own lives to start getting smart about who we're allowing in here. Most of them are not wrong, but for you, they are. Pick your voices, get narrowed in, stop over-learning, and just go do something. We love the learn stage, guys. Love it. Because the learn stage is better than the nothing stage. Oh, I'm on my way. I'm trying. I'm learning. But there's no results that are associated. Just, I'm on my way. We spend more time making our business cards than we do making sure they end up in the right hands. Should I do this logo, that logo? Does this number look like this? Put the friggin' card out. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody looks at it and goes, I was going to use you, but I would have went with a size 11 font, and that's clearly a 12 font, and I would have gone with a... So if you want to live in the learn, go ahead, but you're not going to do a thing. Step out of the learn and step into the mistake stage. Accept the fact that you are going to screw up. But this screw up is going to lead to this screw up, which is going to lead to this overcome, which is going to lead to this overcome, and at the end of the day, you're going to end right here while this person is still learning over here. Does that make sense? I don't fully understand how that works. I don't really get how... You're going to wait till it's perfect? Did iPhone wait till they were perfect to release it onto us? You guys remember when the iPhone came out? It sucked. Bugs everywhere. It was worse than Georgia for the first 2 months. So glad I can laugh at that now. Guys, for many people, if we're being honest, life does suck, right? For some people, it's good, and for a select few, it's amazing. You should always focus and appreciate where you are in life, and you should also focus on just how far you've come. I always talk about focusing on the right distance, not where we're going, but always take a step back and kind of look how far I've come. But that doesn't mean that we love ourselves just the way we are. One of my favorite quotes was a Billy Graham quote. And he said, God loves you just the way you are, but too much to let you stay there. When I look at, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I love where I am right now in relation to where I was. But I can't settle for this. There's so much more. Any of you got more time in this world? You got more time? Yeah? Are you settling for where you are? Look, I'm talking to a crowd of people that paid to come to an advance. But don't let it end there. What I want from you guys is we did 2 days of breakouts and general sessions and just people pouring into you. Everything they have. The worst thing you can do, the greatest spit in the face, would be to leave here and go, okay, you left your families, you left your... The worst thing you can do, the greatest spit in the face, is to go, well, I had fun, but to be in the exact same place next year. God loves you just the way you are, but too much to allow you to stay there. Thank you very much.